Let's go ahead and call the Senate to order. Sergeant Arms will please secure the chamber doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President.
I'd like to invite the senator from District 11 up to the dais to do our invocation today, which works out well because we're waiting for some last-minute arrivals here. From District 11, our friend and colleague will give the invocation. Members, please rise for that invocation.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, colleagues. A rabbi from my district was going to join us this morning, but because of the change of time, he was unable to join us. So we do have his prayer that I will deliver on his behalf. Almighty God, as proud Marylanders, we pray for the welfare and safety of our governor, lieutenant governor, and all elected and appointed officials of our beloved state. Grant them the wisdom and judgment to keep us safe, to deal justly and compassionately with all, and to guide us toward a better future. We pray for the soldiers of the Armed Forces of the United States of America and the Maryland National Guard, as well as police and all first responders. We recognize that our lives and the safety of our community rely on the bravery and dedication of so many to whom we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude. God of justice, fill the hearts of all in this chamber with steadfast strength, devotion, and concern to hear and advocate for their constituents. Humble us to remember that our authority is an expression of their many and unique voices. In the complexity of the issues, please guide us toward cooperation and compromise, and may you bless and bring success to the laws we pass. God of peace, please watch over Maryland and shine your holy light to all the people of our state. Open the eyes of its inhabitants so we might remember we are all brothers and sisters, the children of God. May there be peace and tranquility in our streets, as well as peace and tranquility in our homes. We thank you, God of kindness, for the blessings you have bestowed upon us as Americans. As our nation's motto proudly exclaims, "In God we trust." Amen. I neglected to mention who wrote that prayer, and that is Rabbi Yerachmiel Shapiro, and he is the rabbi at a synagogue in my district, Moses Montefiore Anshe Amuna Hebrew Congregation in District 11. Thank you.
I'm glad that you were able to give the name of the location as I was reading it over your shoulder. That would not have been my finest hour. All right, Chair recognizes the senator from the 33rd District.
Mr. President, thank you for recognizing me. Not only was the prayer wonderful, but the presentation was also very fine. Move that the prayer be journalized. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Senator, and without objection, we will journalize the invocation this morning. Very well delivered by our dear colleague and friend from the 11th District. All right, has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? All right. The clerk will take the call. With 43 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. Introductions today. Chair recognizes the senator from the 23rd District. Oh, nope. The Majority Whip.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, please give a warm Maryland welcome to our doctor of today from District 7, Dr. George Maloof. Please give him a warm District 16.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Chair recognizes the senator from the 28th District.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I'd like to introduce a shadow of the day for me, Francesca Winborn, a student at the mighty UMBC, and she is from Harvard of Grace up in Harford County. So welcome, Francesca.
Welcome. We're glad you could be here with us today. Other introductions? Co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
Um, Thank you very much. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Maryland Mayors Association. They are with us in Annapolis today. So we have about 30 mayors from all over the state who are with us up in the gallery. Please welcome them with a round of applause.
Welcome. Welcome.
We thank you, and we trust that you will have a wonderful day. With that, Mr. President, if I could go ahead and announce our pages. This is the last, next to the last week for our pages, and several of them had been with us in person this week. So we just want to wish them farewell. From Frederick County, District 4, Janelle Jim, Urbana High School, Kirsten Carpenter, Dorchester County, 37B, North Dorchester High School, Yixon Lau from Montgomery County, District 16, Walter Johnson High School, Camille Laura Lou, Montgomery County, District 16, Walter Johnson High School, Desomi Oki, Anne Arundel County, District 32, Meade High School, Hannah Quigley, Howard County, District 14, Glenelg Country School, Raya Seth, Howard County, District 13, River Hill High School, Tabitha Tamulovich from Baltimore County, District 7, Perry Hall High School, and Rebecca Zhu, Montgomery County, District 15, Winston Churchill High School. Students, you have brains in your head and feet in your shoes, and you will go wherever you choose. Thank you for being with us. And members of the Senate, please give them a warm send-off. Thank you.
Thank you
Mr.
so much,
President.
Virtual Pages. We wish you the best on your journey, and as you move on from here, hopefully this week or these weeks were interesting and you learned something. Chair recognizes the Senator from Prince George's.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I know that the Chair of Protocol mentioned the mayors, but you all, I've shared with you all before, I have 8 municipalities in my district. Really appreciative of that, and I'm very much appreciative of the mayors who are here today, and I'd just like to say their names. It'll be very brief.
Senator may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have Mayor Rocio Tremino Lopez here. We have Mayor Jeff Skomich. Let's give him a round of applause. We got Mayor Sadara Barrow here. Mayor Ben Khan. Mayor Felicia Nemhard. Commission Chair Wanda Wheatley. My Mayor Casey Munyane. Mayor Calvin Washington. Mayor Selena Benitez. Mayor Kashina Cross. Mayor Michael O'Connor. And Mayor Takesha James. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Apologies that we missed yesterday. I know there was a reception. We were busy at work, but I hope that the gathering proved to be successful, and I'm sure there's a lot of great ideas shared across the different municipalities. We appreciate our local leaders enormously. All right, any other introductions? If not, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. Our first order of business will be a conference committee report. This is a small little bill, tiny little bill, but we've been able to move this thing quickly in agreement in a bipartisan way. We've got a lot of incredible investments coming. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 290, the President Budget Bill Fiscal Year 2023.
All right, Chair recognizes the Chair of Budget and Tax to explain the conference committee report amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. We certainly have had a unique year. We came into this year with a surplus that we've never seen before, and we had the very challenging and important responsibility of putting together a budget that reflected our values, dealt with the issues that we cared about, from education to health care to environment, you name it, and do it in a responsible way. People talk about a surplus, and it gives a certain sense of wealth, but it's a certain sense at the moment. It is not one that necessarily carries on, and so what you need to do and take with that one-time money is do very responsible things, and I think we've done that. And with our capital budget, which you'll see next week, you'll see a lot of good effort that we've made forward. But this budget is a reflection of the House, the Senate, and the administration working together on both spending priorities and giving that opportunity to give some tax relief to the citizens of Maryland, particularly those who are 65 plus. A lot of good things in here, and before I motion, I would just say once again I want to thank the good folks at Department of Legislative Services, David Romans and the whole team who were extraordinary, everybody in the budget, in budget and tax, and our staff there who have been absolutely tremendous, and all the members of the committee, the subcommittee chairs who are the real workhorses of the committee, and all the members of the committee. We have, I believe, such a collegial and terrific relationship that we are able to pull this all together every year. I'm very grateful for every one of them. So with that, Mr. President, I would move that adoption of the Conference Committee report.
Floor Leader moves for the adoption of the Conference Committee report. Any discussion? All in favor of the report, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The Conference Committee report is adopted. Senate Bill 290 is now yet again before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 290, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Congratulations to the Budget and Tax Committee and for all members. It's a good bill. It's a very good bill. It's a very good bill. All right, let's go ahead and do a Conference Committee calendar. Are we ready in JPR Conference Committee? This is message from the House number 6. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 279, Senator Hedelman, Access to Counsel and Eviction Special Fund Alteration, JPR.
All right, Chair recognizes Chair of the Committee on the House amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended by the House, the bill replaces money received by the aggrieved party with restitution. JPR voted unanimously to concur. I move to concur.
All right, the Chair moves that we concur with the House amendments. Any discussion on those amendments? All in favor of the amendments say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 279 is now before the body on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 279, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We've got another concurrence calendar here. This is out of EHE. Are we ready, Mr. Chairman, on these concurrences? All right, this is number 7. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 37, Senator Augustine, Health Occupation State Board of Massage Therapy Examiners requiring license to practice and other revisions, EHE.
Chair recognizes Chair of the Committee on the House amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. The House amendments maintain the current civil penalty for violation of provisions to the Act. It also indicates that an applicant's educational curriculum must be accredited by the U.S. Department of Education only. EHE recommends concurrence. Move adoption of concurrence report.
All right, the floor leader moves for the moves to accept the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 37 is now before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 37, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 62, Senator Washington, Pharmacist Aids for the Cessation of Tobacco Product Use, EHE, and Finance.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill authorizes a pharmacist who meets the requirements of the regulations adopted by the Board of Pharmacy to prescribe and dispense nicotine replacement therapy medication. Obviously, we are committed to trying to reduce nicotine problems in the state. The House amendments limit the scope of regulations to be adopted by the Board of Pharmacy. We move to concur with the House amendments.
All right, the chairman moves that we concur with the House amendments. Any discussion on the senator's motion? On the House amendments, all in favor say aye, opposed nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 62 is now again before us on third reader. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 62, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 654, Senator Klossmeyer, Veterans Affairs, Communications Outreach and Advocacy Program, Veterans Advocacy and Education Act, EHE.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. The House amendments simply strike an unnecessary subtitle reference. We move to concur with the House amendment.
All right, Chair moves that we concur with the House amendments. Any discussion on the amendments? All in favor say aye, opposed nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 654 is again before us on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 654, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, Senators, we are going to have to, we're going to have a couple moments. We have to do a Rules Committee for a exact cross-file bill that's part of the bill signing this afternoon. So in just a moment, once we get the file and we get to second readers, we're going to pull the Rules Committee off, and then they'll come back, we'll pull Budget and Tax off, and then we will take up a bill that we've already passed. It's the retirement tax bill that is the House version of it. So we just want to make sure that we have it available for the bill signing that's happening this afternoon. But it's something we've all debated, and it's been part of the whole package. So just wanted to kind of give a heads up why there will be some movement, and maybe we may have to do a little recess depending on timing. So let's see. All right, let's go to third reading calendar. This is number 16. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 459, Delegate Clippinger, Juvenile Justice Reform, Rules.
All right, House Bill 459 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 29 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 459, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Are we ready for rules? Okay, let's do this. Let's go to second reader. Let's take this Senate Bill Judicial Proceedings. Do we want to do Rules Committee? Ready to do? Okay, so the chair recognizes the chair of the Rules Committee. Are we going to pull off now?
Thank you, Mr. President. Do we have all the necessary information to go off the floor?
We do. So if the Rules Committee would head to the red room so that there can be a vote on one bill, and that can quickly happen. Except we will need whoever has the calendar 31, any of the floor reporters. Okay, so Rules Committee members, if, we're just going to do second readers that are Senate bills. If now would be the appropriate time, yeah, to head to the Red Room. All right, let's take up Calendar 31. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 817, Senator Jackson, employment of previously convicted individuals, state agencies, and youth camps, favorable with 3 amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City County on, as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 817, as amended, authorizes a youth camp or youth development organization or program before making a formal offer of employment to a job applicant to request from the Department of Health a determination as to whether the results of the federal criminal history records check will be the basis of prohibiting or hiring that applicant. There were 3 amendments. The first is technical. The second strikes from the bill provisions concerning employment by certain state agencies, and the third amendment applies the bill to youth development organizations or programs that specify that an entity covered by the bill may request a determination from the health department rather than being required to do so. Mr. President, I move adoption of the amendments in the favorable committee report.
All right, the floor leader moves for the adoption of the 3 committee amendments and the favorable committee report on the amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 3 committee amendments are adopted. On the favorable report as amended, any discussion? If not, are you sure? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? I'm trying to stall here. I know. It's fine. You're marked excused on it. Yeah. All right. If there are no further amendments to the bill or the title, Senate Bill 817 is hereby ordered passed for or printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 896, Senator Smith, Office of the Attorney General, Independent Investigation Revisions, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, this bill is identical to House Bill 638. The amended bill renames the Independent Investigative Unit within the Office of the Attorney General to the Independent Investigative Division. Number 2, it specifies that it is the primary investigative unit for police-involved incidents that result in the death of civilians or injuries likely to result in the death, and amends its duties and powers relating to the investigation of police-involved incidents. The amended bill also requires the IID to have the first opportunity to prosecute police-involved incident, and if the IID declines to proceed with the prosecution, a state's attorney with jurisdiction over the matter may proceed with the prosecution. Beginning fiscal 2024, the governor must include an appropriation of at least $5 million. There are 2 amendments. One is technical. Amendment number 2 strikes provisions of the bill and conforms it to House Bill 638. Mr. President, I'd move for adoption of the favorable committee report and the 2 committee amendments, and afterwards I'd like to have the bill and the amendments lie over under the rules.
All right. The floor leader has moved for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report, and then has a subsequent motion to lay the bill under the rule. We haven't adopted, have we? No, okay, right. So we will lay the bill and the amendments over under the rule. Right, before the, all right. Clerk will read the next bill.
Mr. President.
Yes, Chair recognizes Chair of Budget and Tax.
May I ask that the members of Budget and Tax retreat to the Red Room?
The Budget and Tax to the Red Room. Budget and Tax to the Red Room. All right. Where are we? Have we read this bill out? Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 949, Senator Smith, Police Officers, Education Requirements, Certification, and Scholarships, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill establishes 2 scholarships for police officers that must be awarded to all applicants that meet eligibility requirements. The governor for fiscal 2024 and annually thereafter must provide funds in the budget equal to 100% of the value of the scholarships. The amended bill also alters the Edward T. and Mary A. Conroy Memorial Scholarship Program and the Gene B. Cryer Memorial Scholarship Program to provide that applicants may be accepted for admission or enrolled in a regular undergraduate, graduate, or professional program, or enrolled in a 2-year terminal certificate program, either inside the state or outside the state. There are 2 committee amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 strikes provisions of the bill relating to police officer certification requirements and strikes a scholarship program under the bill associated with completing those requirements and makes changes to existing scholarship programs. Mr. President, I move the bill and the amendments.
All right. Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Chair recognizes the minority leader on the amendments.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this bill, and I missed some of the floor debate last week, and I remember there was some parole for police officers, and it became a scholarship bill. Does this have anything to do with that?
It does not. This is a separate bill.
So,
if you remember, we recommitted that bill, and that bill had a separate scholarship provision that was amended onto it before it was recommitted. This bill is a separate bill that deals with a separate scholarship program, and so it is unrelated to what we did last week.
okay, so that parole bill could not be amended onto this bill?
It is not amended onto this bill. I mean, if you'd like to offer amendment, you're of course welcome to. This bill has no parole policy. It is only a scholarship bill.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right. Any further discussion on the amendments? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amended report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr.
With
President.
amendment.
We have a committee amendment.
All right. One more additional amendment. Senator may explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. This amendment is purely a technical amendment. Move the amendment.
All right. Technical amendment. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 949 is hereby ordered printed for 3rd reading. Let's see. Are we ready with the consent calendars from Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs? All right, let's do Report 46 out of Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs.
Report of the Committee on Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs, report number 46, consent calendar 8.
Chair recognizes Chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consent calendar 8 includes clean cross files that received unanimous vote in committee and a unanimous vote on the floor, and I would move adoption of the consent agenda and obviously give the body time if they want to separate any bills.
All right, the chairman has moved for the adoption of the favorable report for all bills on consent calendar number 8 out of Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs. Are there any bills that senators wish to separate out clean cross files? Unamended. All right. If not, on the report, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report on all bills in consent calendar number 8 is adopted, and the bills are ordered passed for 3rd reading. We have another one out of Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs. Clerk will read the calendar.
Report of the Committee on Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs, report number 47, consent number 9.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consent number 9 also are clean cross files of bills we've already passed that received a unanimous vote in committee and on the floor. Mr. President, I would move the whole list, but I would ask that HB 433 be separated and special ordered till next Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Chairman has moved to adopt the favorable committee report for all bills on calendar number 9 and separate out HB 433. So let's Let's take up the favorable report first, and then we'll take up HB 433 separately. So, yeah, Chair recognizes the
34.
34.
Thank you.
Yes.
Again, these, just like the last calendar, these were all unanimous bills, right? I missed that part. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
On the Senate bill, they were voted unanimously in committee and on the floor.
All right. So let's take a look. We're taking out 433. Are there any other bills that senators wish to separate? If not, the favorable report for consent calendar 9, but not HB 433. Questions on the adoption? All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted, and those bills are ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the separate bill.
House Bill 433, Delegate Wells, Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners, student members, and task force to study compensation and student members, favorable.
Chair recognizes it.
Mr. President, move to special order till Tuesday, appropriate session.
All right. Chairman's moved to special order the bill until Tuesday. Are there any objections? Without objection, so ordered. The bill will be special ordered to Tuesday. All right. We're now on another consent calendar. Clerk will read calendar number 48.
Report of the Committee on Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs, report number 48, consent calendar 10.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Alcohol Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. President. These are all alcohol bills. They are identical to what we had in the Senate bill. They were unanimous, no amendments. I would move the calendar, but I would ask to separate House Bill 464, House Bill 1210, and House Bill 1221.
All right. The senators moved to adopt the favorable committee report on consent calendar 10, but not 464, 1210, 1221, and 1221. So on the consent calendar for the remainder, are there any bills that senators also would wish to separate out? If not, on the favorable report for the others, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report for consent calendar 10, but for the 3, is adopted, and those bills are ordered passed for third reading. Can we take these 3 up at one time? Madam Secretary? No, one by one. Okay. We'll read the first one.
House Bill 464, Delegate Atara, Baltimore City 41st Legislative District, alcoholic beverages marketplace license, favorable.
Floor leader moved to special order
until Tuesday.
Until
please.
Tuesday. Are there any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Tuesday. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1210, Delegate Ampry, Baltimore City alcoholic beverages licenses, transfer, favorable.
Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Yeah, like the special order till Tuesday, please.
Senator moves to special order until Tuesday. Any objections? Without objection, the bill will be special ordered until Tuesday. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1221, Delegate Ampry, Baltimore City alcoholic beverages, 40th Alcoholic Beverages District. This is an emergency bill.
Chair recognizes the floor leader.
Yes, I'd like the special order until Tuesday, please.
Senators move to special order until the appropriate time Tuesday. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. The bill is special ordered to the appropriate time on Tuesday. All right. We are on, out of budget and tax, we have a consent calendar. Welcome back. Clerk will, this is report number 40. Clerk will read the calendar.
Report of the Committee on Budget and Taxation, report number 40, consent calendar 7.
Chair recognizes the Chair of Budget and Tax.
Thank you, Mr. President. These are all House bills that are the exact match to Senate bills that we've already passed through the body unanimously, and I move the consent calendar.
All right, the chairman has moved for the adoption of the favorable report for all bills on consent calendar number 7. Senators, please take a look at the calendar. We have 6 bills here. Are there any bills that senators wish to separate? If not, question before the body is on the adoption of the favorable report. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted for all bills on consent calendar 7, and the bills are ordered passed for third reading. We have another budget and tax. This is report number 4141. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 379, Delegate Corman, State Employee and Retiree Health and Welfare Benefits Program, eligibility for enrollment and participation, Independent Agency Health Insurance Option Act, favorable with 2 amendments.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Pensions Committee as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, as amended, House Bill 379 is going to be a matching cross-file of Senate Bill 417 that passed this chamber unanimously a few weeks back. Just as a reminder, the bill authorizes employees of the Maryland Agriculture and Resource-Based Industry Development Corporation, or we lovingly call MARBIDCO, and the Maryland Clean Energy Center to participate in the state employee and retiree health and welfare benefits program under specified circumstances. There's uncodified language that requires the Secretary of Budget Management within 60 days of the effective date of the bill to determine whether the entities are eligible to enroll and participate in the health insurance benefits options under the program. All eligible entities must pay the state the total cost of the employee's participation, and the Secretary of DBM is also required to submit a report on the other non-state entities participating in the state plan. There are 2 committee amendments. The first makes a technical change to the title, and the second limits the bill to the 2 entities serving the whole state, adds the reporting requirement, and gives DBM that 60 days to make the eligibility determinations. Move the 2 committee amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 379 is hereby ordered passed for 3rd reading. We have do we have everybody here? We have a Senate 3rd reading calendar. Can we ring the bells, please? And let's do a quorum call before 3rd reading.
Mr. President,
has everyone recorded their presence? Let's see, the clerk. Clerk will call the roll, or will take the call. With 45 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. We have 3rd reading calendar number 76. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 523, Senator Kagan, Health Occupations, Licenses, Certificates, and Registration, Immigrants.
All right. Senate Bill 523 is on 3rd reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 30 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 523, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 833, Senator Feldman, Cannabis Reform. This is a constitutional amendment.
Senate Bill 833.
Mr. President.
There's an issue here, right? Chair recognizes the minority whip.
Yeah, I'm just happy to speak for a moment about this bill. What we should be doing today is voting up or down on legalization of cannabis and the framework. That's what we should be doing. And instead we're going through what I would call a bit of a charade, where we're also going to do a constitutional amendment to tell us what we already know, that most people in Maryland are going to approve the constitutional amendment. We could have instead spent a lot more time laying out a framework or a timeline so that it would be clear to people how you will be able to engage in this if we passed it, and what the tax structure would be, what the business would do, but how the businesses would work, what kind of reparations and restoration to communities that have been harmed through the war on drugs would do. Instead, we're tying what this is basically, this bill has become a criminal justice bill, which a lot of the issues brought up are certainly relevant and worth talking about. But it's a sort of an odd hodgepodge. Again, some of it being done because there was a demand that we put it on the ballot, not from people in this chamber. So, Mr. President, I'm going to be voting no on this. On the larger issue, I don't support legalizing recreational marijuana. I was a strong supporter, and even when I was running in a district, when I first ran for the House of Delegates, I told people publicly when they asked me, I would say, yeah, I support medical marijuana. I think we should make it available for people to use as a medicine. To be honest, now, knowing what we know about opioids, probably should have been using medical marijuana a lot sooner than we were. We have a medical marijuana program in the state that, while it's had a lot of trouble as far as how it's rolled out to who gets to profit off of it, it has helped patients. And it's very easy to get a medical marijuana card if you need it for some sort of malady. So the reason I've always struggled with the idea of legalizing it recreationally is that I do believe, and I mentioned it when we discussed the bill, I guess it was yesterday, the days sort of run together. I think when you legalize something, you do say that it's okay to do it. You send the message that you should do it, it's fine, and I think it's going to lead to more and more people tuning out and dropping out, to use sort of an old-fashioned term. I don't think we need more of that in society right now. I think we have enough problem with people disconnecting themselves from reality, and there's a lot of societal issues that come from that. So my vote on this is red, but I do also say to the body, we should not put this on the ballot. We should just vote it up or down. That's what we're elected to do. So, Mr. President, my vote is red on this bill. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Senator. Quick point of parliamentary procedure. So it is not, this one is not actually a constitutional amendment. It came up in the system as such, but was amended out of this bill. So that's why there was a confusion. We were trying to figure out what.
Mr. President, so
yes.
Point of order, if we can pass this and it could go into law whether we have a constitutional referendum or not?
Let's check with the amendments with the floor leader. Believe there's still contingency language in it, but it is not the amendment itself.
Yes, I mean, I think the intent here is that this policy bill is subject to the passage of HB1, which so I agree with the Senate President. It said that up there, but I think that language has been taken out. So it's a policy bill and not a constitutional amendment itself. That's the HB1 bill.
Correct. And Mr. President, just I knew that as I was speaking. I was saying it is contingent, though, on the passage of a constitutional amendment. We could just pass a bill like this up or down without it being contingent on anything, and I think that's what we should do. We should vote up or down without that contingency. Anyway, I reaffirm my red vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you. And senators, if you'll indulge, we have some guests in the balcony behind us. These are students in Professor Eberle's Maryland Politics course, and they are joined by Professor Tony Ugas, who is the director of the Center for the Study of Democracy. So in the gallery, we have Sydney Anderson, Connor Armstrong, Catherine Bennett, Ligia Bandana, Lannon Fritz, Ella Sudath, and Gina Vigiano, if I was close. So welcome. We're glad that you all get to see democracy in action and hope you enjoy your day here. All right, so Senate Bill 833 still remains on third reading for final passage, and Chair recognizes the Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just some facts about this. Basically, anybody who wants a medical marijuana card can get it today. I visited the facilities. They told me, look, anybody, for basically any reason, can come get it. So that's already on the books. We've seen public opinion shift where the polls are coming 60–70% support this. We know this is coming, and we can do it now. We were elected as representatives to vote up or down on issues. We don't need to clutter our Constitution with cannabis in there. And for those who support legalizing marijuana and all the criminal reform, we could do that today. But the majority party wants to delay that for you. They could do that today. We could send it up as an emergency bill to the governor. You could have that today. But some have proffered this is a political stunt to get more people to the polls and have you wait.
Mr. President.
It helps.
I mean,
Chair recognizes the senator from Montgomery County. What purpose does Senator rise?
I mean, I just wanted to address, I mean, this is not politics in nature. This is about policy.
Thank you, Senator, for the observation. Senator may proceed.
Thank you. Unfortunately, there is politics down in Annapolis. I love the 97% that's not dealing with that, but the 3% will kill you. And no matter how you look at it, the policy decision we're making in this bill says delay. We have the ability to pass it today, but we want to delay it. And why do we want to delay? Is it because there's some great uncertainty that this bill or this question on the ballot will not pass? I don't think there is a single senator on this floor that thinks that question will not pass. And if you do, I would invite you to get up and refute that with me. But from the political side, what that does, it puts it on a ballot, and as some has said, it tries to bring more people out that wouldn't have come out to vote. We as legislators should do what's best for the people of Maryland, not what's best politically. If we truly believe that this should go into law, we should not delay. We should not postpone justice. The reform that we're proposing for months on end when we have it in the power of our hands to do it today. But that's what this bill is doing. It's saying, no, 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 we can't act. We have to wait for a question to be asked that we know what the answer is, but it helps a political party potentially. I think that's the wrong way to go forward on policy. Again, we were elected to make decisions. We should do it, and that's why I'm voting against this bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the senator from the 41st District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unlike the colleague that spoke previously about this bill, I actually philosophically favor the legalization of adult use recreational marijuana. However, on principle, when I think about the decades of harm and destruction caused to individuals and communities of color during marijuana prohibition, I can't in good conscience vote for a bill that favors the wealthy but doesn't create adequate repair restoration for those damaged people. There are some good things in this bill, but the folks that need to be prioritized are not prioritized in this bill. Legalizing marijuana, we already know we don't need a ballot initiative because many polls show that the majority of Marylanders already favor legalization, but they also favor repairing damage. They also favor equity and restoration, and this bill simply doesn't go far enough. A wise man once said that if you stick a knife in a person's back 9 inches and then pull it out 6 inches, you're not doing them any favors. Even if you pull the knife all the way out, that's not progress. Progress is when you acknowledge that you put the knife in, and then you take the necessary actions to heal and restore the damage. I am very afraid that passing this with the contention that will come back later and will take care of all of the extra things that need to be taken care of is a bad proposition. I was not here when medical marijuana was passed, but I know that when it comes to equity, diversity, and participation, that black people, brown people, and unwealthy people have not benefited in terms of the profit from those industries. I know that this bill doesn't set that up. It has some equity provisions, but it doesn't deal with the licensing and regulation. There's no guarantee or even promise that that will happen eventually. So for all of the people, all of the communities, all of the 92% of black people that have been criminalized because of marijuana prohibition, and not just for possession, but for possession with intent to distribute, I just can't in good conscience support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of Finance.
Yeah, we talked about this bill a lot yesterday. I don't want to rehash much of anything. Just 2 quick points. I just want to refresh everybody's memory that we did take a vote last night on this very exact same bill, House Bill 837, just as a reminder. And secondly, just on my good friend, the senator from District 41, who specifically talked about community repair and reinvestment, this bill, almost verbatim, took from the senator's bill and created a fund that did not exist when the House bill came over, entitled the Community Reinvestment and Repair Fund. I mean, that is in this bill, directly from the senator's bill, which I thought at the time when she testified was one of the most important components of her bill. So, Mr. President, again, I'll just leave it at that. We did take a vote on this bill. I think it's good balanced product, and I'd ask for a green vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, on the bill, any Senate Bill 833 is on third reading for final passage. Any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? Chair recognizes the senator from the 38th District to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I voted against this bill because I don't think we're acknowledging that we're still in the middle of an opioid crisis. And during the pandemic, overdose deaths have significantly increased. So I'm opposing the legalization of recreational use of cannabis that could lead to an increase of our opioid crisis.
All right, any further senators wish to explain their votes? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 29 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 833, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We have a report from the Committee on Rules. Oh, do we? I'm sorry. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 860, Senator King, Solar Energy, School Construction and Community Solar Energy Generating Systems.
Senate Bill 860 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 860, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We've got a report from the Committee on Rules. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 1468, Delegate B. Barnes, Income Tax, Retirement Income Subtraction Modifications, and Senior Credit, re-referred to Budget and Taxation.
All right, the bill is referred to the Committee on Budget and Taxation. We have a concurrence report out of Budget and Tax. This is report number 9. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 316, Senator Elfreth, Sales and Use Tax, Diapers and Baby Products Exemption, B&T.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee to explain the House amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 316 was passed by the Senate. The bill exempts various products from the sales and use tax related to baby products. The House amendments adds diaper, rash cream, and baby wipes to the list of items on the sales and use that are exempt from sales and use tax. Budget and Tax concurs with the amendment.
All right. The chairman urges the Senate to adopt the House amendments. Any discussion? Any objections on the House amendments? Without objection, the House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 316 is again before the body on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 316, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 369, Senator King, Income Tax, Maryland Earned Income Tax Credit Assistance Program for Low-Income Families, Budget and Tax.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. As passed by the Senate, the bill establishes the Maryland Earned Income Tax Assistance Program for low-income families. The House amendment alters the starting date of a reporting requirement. Budget and Tax concurs with the amendments.
All right. The chairman moves to concur with the House amendments. Any discussion on the amendments? Any objections to the amendments? Without objection, the House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 369 is again before the Senate on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 369, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 477, Senator Hester, Office of the Comptroller, Legal Division and Private Letter Ruling Procedures.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. As passed by the Senate, the bill establishes a legal division in the Comptroller's Office to provide private letter rulings. The House amendments require a person requesting a private letter ruling to include certain information with the request for the private letter ruling. And 2, authorizes the Comptroller to deny the request for a private letter ruling under certain circumstances. Budget and Tax concurs with the amendments.
All right, the Chair moves that we adopt the House amendments. Any discussion on those amendments? Any objection to the House amendments? Without objection, the House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 477 is now again before the body on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 477, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 862, Senator McCray, Baltimore City, Maryland Transit Administration, Transit Services for Public School Students and Youth Workers, Budget and Tax.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. As passed by the Senate, the bill requires the Maryland Transit Administration to provide ridership on transit vehicles to any eligible Baltimore City public school student and youth worker in Baltimore City Youth Works program. The House amendments strike the provisions of the bill that would have sunset the requirements after fiscal 27. Budget and Tax concurs with the amendments.
All right, the Chair moves that we adopt the House amendments. Any discussion on those amendments? Any objections to the amendments? Without objection, the House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 862 is again before the body on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 862, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 1, Senator Bidel, State Finance and Procurement, Prevailing Wage, Stop Work Orders, Finance.
All right, out of Finance here, Chair recognizes the Chair of Finance on the House amendments. SB 1.
Thank you. Senate Bill 1 authorizes the Commissioner of Labor and Industry, after investigating compliance with the state prevailing wage law, to issue a stop work order to a public works contractor or subcontractor where a possible violation of the prevailing wage law may have occurred. The House amendments strike the language adding the Board of Contract Appeals to the process and requires that the Commissioner, as soon as an order is issued, to immediately offer a contractor or subcontractor an opportunity to cure violation. I move to concur.
All right, the Chair moves that we concur with the House amendments. Any discussion on the amendments? All in favor of the amendments, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Question now before the body is Senate Bill 1, which is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 31 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 1, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We've got another concurrence for the out of Budget and Tax. This is calendar 10. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 405, the President, Retirement Tax Elimination Act of 2022, Budget and Tax.
Let's see, we have the wrong one on the board. All right. Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. This, of course, is the tax relief bill that we've been looking for. It reflects the agreement that we made. The House amendments, which I'll read in a minute, are added on to the original provisions, and this reflects where we ultimately want to go. The House amendments make technical clarification, also alter the state subtraction modification for retired law enforcement correctional officers and firefighters, rescue and emergency service personnel of $15,000 eligible retirement income if the individual is at least 55 years of age. The subtraction modification is not reduced by the amount of Social Security benefits received and replaces the existing subtraction modification that can be claimed under current law consistent with the subtraction for military retirement income. Budget and tax concurs with the amendments.
All right. The chair moves that we adopt the House amendments. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections to the House amendments? Without objection, the amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 405 is now again before the body on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 405, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we've got third reading calendar number 17. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 1, Delegate Clippinger, Constitutional Amendment, Cannabis, Adult Use and Possession. This is a constitutional amendment.
All right, House Bill 1 is on third reading for final passage. This is a constitutional amendment. Chair recognizes the senator from 36 on the bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. You're absolutely correct. This is, for some reason, we think that the legalization of cannabis is important enough to put on the Maryland Constitution. Now, Mr. President, as you said before, I've been in the committee that has discussed these pieces of legislation the entire time. I've still not gotten a valid reason on why cannabis, the legalization of cannabis, needs to be in the Constitution. Now, we've talked about why we might want to see it on the ballot, why there might be a referendum. There's certain reasons that I would agree with the minority leader that why we're going to see that, but it does not need to be in the Constitution. And the only thing that I heard one time was that we feel this is important. Well, Mr. President, I think a lot of the things that we do down here are important. I think a lot of the things that we do down here help the citizens of Maryland each day, but why is this so important that it's in the Constitution of Maryland? Nobody has been able to answer that question, and maybe somebody will after I speak here. But that's what's so interesting about what we have done. We've tied two bills that we've already passed into this piece of legislation. Now, outside, if for instance, if this did not pass, the only thing in those two bills that would go into effect is the diversity study. So that will go into effect as soon as we pass those other two bills. Everything else that's in those two bills has to wait for this constitutional amendment to be ratified by the voters. And again, it's something that I understand that we've been looking at, but we have been talking about the legalization of cannabis for the last 2 or 3 years. Last year we brought it up. We had two bills that came up last year, no constitutional amendments last year. It wasn't important to do a constitutional amendment last year, but this year it is. The Constitution needs to say that Maryland wants to legalize cannabis. I don't know why. But Mr. President, I'm going to vote against this because I just don't think this issue is important enough to be in the Constitution of the state of Maryland. So I'd urge you to join me in a red vote, and let's keep this out of the Constitution. Thank you.
All right. On the bill, Chair recognizes the senator from District 7.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, kind of following up what my senator to my left said, why are we putting this in the Constitution? You know, Constitution is supposed to be pure, kind of your basic laws, and from there we build off of it. And I've heard before, well, Maryland's Constitution isn't necessarily clean. You know, I think there's issues about parking in Baltimore City. Now we've put gambling in it, and we just keep adding to it, and this is going to add to it, that we're putting now marijuana in our state constitution. I asked a question in committee that we're putting a product in our constitution that is still federally illegal. Let's say one day the feds finally buckle down and say, nope, we don't like it, we're going to enforce all the laws. What happens? What do we do? I asked the question in our committee, and we have a new thing in our committee when we can't answer a question, we refer to it as rhetorical question. And it's kind of where we were yesterday with the family leave bill. We couldn't get questions answered. Well, it's a great rhetorical question. We'll just leave it at that. So here we are unable to answer questions. And that's where we are with this. Is Maryland's unique. I understand that the only way that we can get things to the referendum or to the ballot is through A, a constitutional amendment through us, or B, the citizens can put it on the ballot. And I did a little research, and if you remember, we did gay marriage. That went to the ballot from us. But a couple years prior to that, we had a bill that I think that dealt with immigrant tuition that was petitioned to the ballot by the voters. That got on the ballot. And then we had the abortion debate back in 1991 that eventually went in 1992. That was put on by the voters, petitioned it. So it could be done that way. But again, as a colleague from District 36 said, we don't need it. We've had the bill. We pass it, it goes upstairs. Let's say he votes to veto it, comes back here, it'll get overridden. We now have recreational use. There is no need for this. And I'm somebody that, hey, the voters should have a right to say, but they do send us down here to make a lot of decisions for them. But I just don't think it should be in the Constitution. I just think, why? You know, again, does not need to happen. So I'll be voting no, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. On the bill, Chair recognizes the Senator for the 34th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. And speaking to the point that was raised by my two previous colleagues, what the constitutional amendment would say is the General Assembly shall by law provide for the use distribution. But before that it says that subject to Section B, that an individual in the state who is at least 20 years old may use and possess cannabis. There's a lot of room in there. There's going to be room for litigation. This thing's going to be subject to court hearings over and over because I don't see those as, when you say in the first case that you shall provide for the use and possession, and then below that we're talking about what can the General Assembly, what do those laws look like? What can they regulate? How can they regulate it or not regulate it? What laws can be passed? After this, every law that we pass dealing with cannabis use, possession, regulation, taxation, etc., is all going to have to go over to the Court of Appeals. Every bill you pass, so any of those, now this says the Court of Appeals has to say, well, wait a second, the first part's ours. We define whether it's subject to this. So rather than just having laws that we pass and we set the public policy, now all the public policy on this particular issue is going to funnel through the Maryland courts, and they're going to end up defining this. It just doesn't make any sense. This is, as was pointed out, it's unnecessary, and it's just added in a whole other filter step that just gums up the works. We saw this, remember the whole gambling issue, how we kind of gummed that up by putting those issues in the Constitution. So we're going right back down that rabbit hole. This is gonna screw this stuff up for decades to come, because once it's in the Constitution, it's gonna be difficult to change the Constitution or get it out. But rather than leave it up to the General Assembly to define these laws, whatever their public policy whim is, we filter everything through the courts, make them the policy body. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, on the bill, any further discussion? If not, we'll go for the floor leader.
Yeah, I'm not going to add that much more other than just, sports wagering is in the Constitution, mentioned other gambling. Many states have wanted, I mentioned this yesterday, in fact, a lot of the red states in the last election, we had Montana, South Dakota, New Jersey, Arizona, decided that they wanted to have the input of the voters of their state before they moved ahead. Now, it is true, Maryland is limited, as my good friend from the 7th District. In order for us to have the input of the citizens of our state, this is the mechanism available for the legislature to do it. And so, we don't have maybe the tools of some of these other states to make it a little easier. But this is actually quite common to let the folks of our state weigh in before we take the next step. So, Mr. President, I'd urge a green vote on this constitutional amendment. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, sir. Any senators who have not yet spoken? Senator from District 4, on the bill?
I actually just have a question for the floor leader on that last statement. You mentioned California, Arizona.
No, I didn't mention California. I said South Dakota, Montana, Arizona. These are not blue states. And by the way, in each of those cases, Red America, they voted to approve referendums in those states. No, I did not mention California.
All right, I've just, the question is, with Arizona, I know voters can put things on the ballot themselves. So in the 3 states that you mentioned, was it the legislature that did this or the voters put it on the ballot?
I don't know the mechanisms. I'm saying they were ballot initiative. They were on the ballot. This is the mechanism available in this state to put it on the ballot. I don't have that information off the top of my head. But their system is different than Maryland.
Yeah.
As I say, we're limited, as the senator from the 7th district mentioned.
All right, well, just thank you very much for that. I just want to clarify that. I think it's an important point because the western states, a lot of them, you can petition something and put it on the ballot and you can do an initiative. That's their idea of a direct democracy. I actually think that's a really bad idea. You shouldn't do things that way. That's the reason why you elect legislatures in order to make decisions and look at these things in a complicated way. And this is a very complicated issue. It is and it isn't. I mean, we could have just passed the bill. But as my colleagues say, I won't echo what's already been said, but there's a reason why we could have just voted this up or down and not put it in the Constitution. And lastly, with gambling, it was a big problem. All of us who were there and dealt with gambling, we had to come back every year and pass another bill to deal with gambling. And finally, we passed a bill to say, well, we're just going to deal with it all in the law now. And the reason sports gaming and all that's in there is because we did this game and we put it in the Constitution. We don't need to do that. We're legislators. People elect us to make decisions on their behalf on issues like this. We don't need to punt and play games. And it's just a bad precedent, quite frankly. So we are not Arizona, or I know you didn't mention it, but California, the western states, they allow it. So if you want to do minimum wage in California, or you want to do family paid leave, you want to do whatever bill you want to do, you just take it to the ballot. The voters get to do it. We don't have that system. We have the system that our founders set up, I think is a very smart one, that they elect people on their behalf. We look at these complicated issues and we make the decisions. And this is starting us down a path where now we're just every election year, we're going to start punting stuff to the voters and playing these games. So I'll be voting no. Thank you.
All right. On the bill, any senators who have not yet spoken? If not, Chair recognizes the Minority Leader.
Yeah, I have not spoken on this, but that's okay.
The last one, sorry.
Yeah. You know, I'm sympathetic to the senator from District 41. While I may not agree specifically on the scope of how to do it, I think if we're going to legalize something, and people have been incarcerated or have a criminal record previously for what we're making legal, we should make them whole. And I voted for the Justice Reinvestment Act and try to have a balance in that. And we've heard on this floor, when you have a criminal record for something small like that, whether it's an education or trying to get a job, and I've seen it in my circle, it's very difficult. And what this bill says is, even though we have the power to help all those people today, we're going to wait months to do that. I just think it's wrong from a policy standpoint, not from a political standpoint, just from a personal standpoint. I think it's wrong. And then, as we were leading up to this debate, because this issue didn't come out of the blue, we knew this issue was coming up. We said in the Senate that what we wanted to do, we did not want to be like the House of Delegates and just put it on a referendum. We wanted to have a framework, and we wanted to let the people know what they were voting for. That is not what we got. When I'm looking for the framework, where is the licensing that the people who want to get a license, they have no clue if they're going to vote for this bill, if they'll get, or this constitutional amendment. They don't know if they'll be included or if it'll be like the past. How many licenses are we going to put out? We don't have a framework. What about the medical marijuana people right now? How will that work with the new licensing coming in? We don't know. The people won't know. We don't have a framework. What is the tax structure that's going to be associated with this? So when the people go to the ballot, they will know. They will know what they're voting for. We in the Senate leadership led the effort. We put the gauntlet down. We said, we're not just going to put a silly ballot question on there with no framework around it. This is what we're going to do. And here we stand a week before, and we're putting a silly question with no framework. So when a person goes to vote, they don't have a clue what we're going to do. And we're seeing a pattern of this with the family leave. We don't know what we're going to do. We'll figure it out next session, but let's just pass it. We're going to put this on the ballot. We said we were going to put you a framework so you know what you're voting on. We're not going to tell you. Trust us. This is a dereliction of duty of what we said we were going to do and what is actually on this board. Are people going to get left behind as they got left behind before? Is that what you're going to vote for? Is that what you're going to stand for? If you vote yes on this, you vote delay. Delay, delay, delay. Delay justice. This is the wrong approach. We knew it when we came in at the very beginning of the session, this was the wrong approach, and we put it out in the press. This is the wrong approach. We will not stand for that. And yet, we sit here or stand here and say, we know it's not the right approach, but this is what the House gave us. We know it's not best for the people of Maryland, whether you're black, brown, or white. We know it's not the best, but we're asking you to vote yes on it. And if your conscience says that's a good idea, then vote yes, but I cannot.
Okay. All right, on the bill. All right. The chair recognizes the senator from the 40th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to remind the body that one of the things that, one of the pieces of advice that we received from the Attorney General's office, in order to effectuate the licenses, that we had to do a disparity study. The disparity study was included in a piece of legislation that we just passed in Senate Bill 833. This will give us the information and the legal grounds to stand on if we were to have any licensing later awarded to small and minority-owned businesses. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, on the bill, I think we know the issues. Let's ring, do we have everybody here? Looks like it. All right, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 29 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we've got another bill here. This is a report from the Budget and Taxation Committee. Number 42, clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 1468, Delegate D. Barnes, Income Tax, Retirement Income Subtraction, Modifications, and Senior Credit, favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1468 is in the same posture as Senate Bill 405 that we just talked about a few minutes ago. Move adoption of the committee report.
All right, floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections to the report? Without objection, the report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1468 is ordered passed for third reading. Before we recognize the chairman, would like to welcome the University of Maryland Applied Agriculture Group. I think are the students behind us. Welcome and thanks for joining us today. Recognizing the chair of the committee.
Could I move that House Bill 1468 have 2 readings in a single day?
Senators move to suspend the rules for 2 readings in the same day. On the motion, any discussion? Any objections to the motion? Without objection, the motion carries. So we'll have 2 readings in the same day. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 1468, Delegate B. Barnes, Income Tax, Retirement Income Subtraction, Modifications, and Senior Credit,
All right, House Bill 1468 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1468, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, Senators, good news and bad news. Good news is the desk is clear at the moment. Bad news is it's not clear for the day. And so we have a bill signing at 3 o'clock. So we are going to have to be back probably close to 4:30 or 5. So happy April 1st. Oh, the winter one, huh? Gotcha.
Congratulations, Mr. President. You pulled it off.
Thank you, thank you. We did just get one more. All right, let's do this. We've got a will not concur. The clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 29, Senator Elfrith, Family Law, Marriage Age Requirements, JPR.
All right, Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee voted not to concur with the House amendment, so we're going to go to a point of conference.
The chair moves to not concur. The motion before the Senate is to not concur. All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The Senate does not concur in the House amendments. The clerk will read the message.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House of Delegates, the Senate refuses to concur in the House amendments and respectfully requests the House recede from its position. Should the House prefer a conference committee to confer on the disagreeing votes of the two houses, the Senate appoints Senator Smith chair, Senator Carter, Senator Huff. Said bill is returned herewith by order Nicole Alexander, Secretary.
Message having been read is ordered adopted. All right, that really does do it. We are really actually there. So long week. We had a long week. Appreciate everyone. We've got this bill signing at 3, which is a good cap to the end of the week of the work that we were able to do together. The one constitutional duty we got was the budget. We got it done. Chair recognizes the senator from Howard County.
Yeah, could I be registered in the green for Senate Bill 290?
290 in the green. Are there any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Any other fixes here? Chair recognizes the chair of finance. Any committee announcements?
No, nothing today.
Nothing for finance. Chair recognizes the chair of education, health, and environmental affairs.
Mr. President, EHE will meet for bill hearings at 12:40, followed by a voting session.
Whew. All right. The Workhorse Committee. Chair recognizes the chair of budget and tax. Nothing. Chair of JPR.
It says we'll come on Monday, 4 p.m. for voting.
Monday, 4 p.m. for JPR. Any other, chair recognizes the chair of budget and tax?
6 o'clock on Monday.
6 o'clock on Monday. Chair recognizes the chair of finance?
Monday, 4 p.m. for voting in finance.
4 p.m. on Monday. All right. Chair of Protocol Committee?
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, it's been a long and a short 4 years together. Regardless of how long we've been here, 1 year, 40 years, I'm deeply grateful for all of our hard work together. And I just wanted to give you a save the date. We'd like to honor some very special retirees next Friday. We're going to do our retirement roast and toast. I guess it's either Thursday or Friday, April 7th or 8th, from 6 to 9. So if you could just try to keep your calendars open, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Madam Co-Chair of the Protocol Committee. Any other announcements? As they are just walking in, they missed all of the action, sadly, but I have some students from the 46th District, from Halliburtt Academy, who are in the gallery as we stand. If you all would stand, if we could, the Senate could give them a very, very warm welcome. Good news is I'll catch them for a picture after session here. So, all right. Any other piece of business? If not, let's do a quorum call before we adjourn.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Monday, April 4th at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. 8 p.m. Without objection, so ordered. Stay safe. Have a fantastic weekend. See you next week.